What's good? My man of society, it is your host with the most, Shadow Log, back at you with another video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free. That is how you help my channel get into the algorithm. I highly appreciate if you go ahead and do that. Now, what I wanted to discuss was somebody told me about a situation. Lefty Gunplay apparently was in a car crash, right? He totaled his car, and he asked what is my thoughts on the matter, right? Well, it's cold shit, right? Shit happens. I mean, he should have been smarter, but I mean, shit like this does tend to happen, right? When individuals are living on the fast lane, like Lefty. Now I know Lefty hears this all the time. Oh, Lefty's a crash shot, or he's a crash dummy, or whatever people say, right? Um, and it just goes in one ear out the other. Now I would hope that Lefty gets his stuff together, right? Because this type of behavior, like I said, it does run out. Your luck does eventually run out. And the whole rapping thing, the whole rap scene in itself is a fast lane, right? People feel the need to do certain things in order to be, I guess, in the spotlight or seen as somebody who's achieving greatness, right? And but the fast life, one thing, I know all these kids idolize these rappers, and idolize their lifestyles, but that lifestyle is very hard to sustain, right? Eventually, people, especially nowadays, people's attention span is very limited, right? People get, how could I say, people get uninterested in things a lot faster than before, right? So the fan base is not as loyal no more. So, eventually people just stop messing with your music, right? They stop, fucking around with your jams, right? They're into another rapper now comes into the scene, or something else is popular, something else is popping, right? And you become yesterday's news, right? So in order to these rappers, the way they got their finances is not so much about rapping, right? They obtain the money by rapping, and then they use that money to start investing, right? They put it in other companies, other businesses, and that's how they accumulated their wealth, right? By being smart, planning stuff, not being reckless, not being on the news or the TV, or social media for dumb shit, right? You know like all the antics that these rappers get themselves into nowadays, right? You didn't see none of that. You would hear about it, right? But not, it was rare, not like how it's common now, right? Because when you start behaving like that, companies start to lose faith in you, right? They no longer are putting their money and their trust in you, including, his record label could get tired of the shenanigans and just let him go, right? You have to know how to carry yourself, right? You have to be responsible, right? Because not only are you gambling with your career and your money, but you're gambling with their money, right? And that's fumbling the bag. You have to show this company that you're actually responsible and that they can rely on you, right? To keep pumping money into you. That way you can now flip that and gain your own wealth, and then establishing your own company on your own. But like I said, that takes rational thinking and not doing stupid shit. That is how you build wealth. Because this living this way, you can only do it for so long, and the money's not as great as you may think it is, right? Because money does run out quick. You know what I mean? Especially paying off court after court, lawyers, and fucking damages and all this and that, right? That's money you could have used to invest in stuff to bring you more money. But like this, it's only a matter of time that you end up just like any other rapper or athlete that blows their money like that, right? You see people that go homeless or broke, because they thought that they were blinded by the spotlight, the bright lights. But like I said, eventually that your popularity does go down, and the money starts to go lower and lower. So you have to find a way how to keep, bringing in revenue. And like I said, music can only sustain you for so long, but eventually people get tired of that too. Then what you gonna do? Especially for Raza rappers who don't have it as lovely as black brothers do, right? You've seen individuals that have been in the rap game for so long and they're still broke. Like I said, it's very hard to try to make it like that. People only give the illusion that they have it in the bag, they have it made, but in reality, you know what I mean. You gotta focus. If you're given the opportunity to be in the spotlight like this, you gotta take advantage of the moment. Because like I said, it's so easy to get lost in the illusion. Hey, because in the real world, real shit happens. Real consequences, real life is real shit. Not like the internet, where you can just say whatever you want and do whatever you want, and pretend like it's all gravy, when in actual reality it isn't. Because it's in the real world where, like I said, you gain the real rewards and you pay the real prices. So, hopefully he gets his stuff together, and he wises up, because, like I said, this is only gonna last for so long. And that's not hating on the individual. It's just the facts about music and the rap scene. You know what I mean? They just showed a concert of that 50 Cent did not even that long ago. Almost that whole stadium was empty. And back in the days, he was somebody big. But like I said, people eventually, they move on. You get what I'm saying? But it's a good thing that 50 was smart. He invested in other companies, even though he has gone bankrupt himself, right? So like, if they go bankrupt, what makes you think that your money ain't gonna run out? We got to be smart about things. But overall, that's just my opinions on the matter. What are your thoughts? Leave